It's 3:14 in the morning. You're awake. You didn't set an alarm. Nothing woke you. You just opened your eyes. And now you're lying there, doing the math. 4 hours and 40 minutes until you have to get up. 4 hours and 39. You reach for your phone because of course you do. The screen is too bright. You squint at it anyway. And somewhere in the back of your head, the same thought shows up that shows up every time. Something is wrong with me. Here's the thing. Nothing is wrong with you. That 3 a.m. wake up isn't a malfunction. It's a 200,000-year-old feature, running exactly as designed in a bedroom that no longer needs it. To understand why, we need to go to northern Tanzania. Near Lake Eyasi, there's a community called the Hadza. They hunt, they gather, they sleep outside, next to a fire, in groups of 20 to 30. No walls, no doors, no locks, and no, they are not living fossils, no modern people are. But their sleeping environment is closer to our ancestors than yours or mine will ever be. So in 2015, a team of anthropologists asked a very simple question. When everyone in the group is asleep at the same time, who's watching? The researchers strapped actigraphs, motion sensors, basically fitness trackers, to 33 Hadza adults. Then they recorded them sleeping. For 20 days straight, 220 hours of data. Here's what they were expecting to find. Everyone sleeps at night, someone takes the night watch, standard stuff. Here's what they actually found. Out of 220 hours of group sleep, the number of minutes where every single person was asleep at the same time was 18. 18 minutes. Out of 220 hours. For more than 99.8% of every night, somebody in that camp was awake. And here's the part that makes it strange. Nobody was assigned. There was no rota, no night watch, no one volunteered. Nobody in the group was even aware it was happening. On average, at any given moment in the night, about 40% of the camp was awake, not standing guard, not on duty, just up, poking the fire, shifting position, half listening to the dark. In animal behavior, there's a name for this. It's called the sentinel hypothesis. Meerkats do it, birds do it, primates do it. The group survives the night because the group never fully goes offline. But meerkats post an actual sentinel, a real animal standing on a real mound doing a real job. The Hadza don't, and they still get the same result. So how? The answer is almost disappointingly simple. The researchers looked at what predicted a person's sleep timing. Not sex, not whether they had children sleeping next to them, not their health. One thing predicted it: age. The people in their 20s and 30s were night owls. They stayed up. They drifted off late. The people in their 50s and 60s were larks, asleep early, awake early, and waking up repeatedly in between, which means that without anybody planning anything, the young ones covered the early night and the old ones covered the late night. And the overlap where everyone was unconscious shrank to almost nothing. The researchers gave this a name, and it's the best name in all of sleep science. They called it the poorly sleeping grandparent hypothesis. Think about what that implies. Your grandmother waking up at 4 in the morning and not being able to get back to sleep. The thing she complains about, the thing she takes pills for, the thing her doctor calls a disorder, that might be the reason your ancestors woke up in the morning at all. Bad sleep in old age isn't a bug that evolution failed to fix. It may be the job. Now here's where it gets more complicated, and I want to be honest with you about this part. In 2001, a historian at Virginia Tech named Roger E. Kirch published something strange. He'd spent 16 years in archives not looking for sleep at all. He was researching nighttime in pre-industrial Europe. And he kept tripping over the same phrase. First sleep. Then second sleep. In diaries. In court records. In medical manuals. In prayer books. He found over 500 references. Then over 2,000 in a dozen languages. The earliest is in Homer's Odyssey. The Romans had a word for it, primus somnus. The pattern he describes goes like this. You go to bed around 9 or 10. You sleep about 3.5 hours. That's first sleep. You wake up around midnight, not startled, not anxious, just awake. And for an hour or so, you do things. You pray. You talk. You tend the fire. You have sex. A 16th century French doctor's manual specifically advised couples that the best time to conceive was after the first sleep, because, his words, they'd have more enjoyment and do it better. Then you go back to bed for second sleep, until dawn. Now, here's the part most videos about this leave out. Not everybody agrees with eKirch. In 2023, the historian Sasha Handley published a direct reconsideration of his thesis. Her argument, the evidence is real, but it's selective. 83 references to first sleep across 5 centuries of English sources is not the same thing as proof that everyone slept that way every night. Sleep in the past may simply have been more varied and more disrupted than any single tidy model allows. I think that's a fair objection. So hold eKirch loosely. But there's a second line of evidence, and this one didn't come from an archive. In the early 1990s, a psychiatrist named Thomas Wehr ran an experiment at the National Institute of Mental Health. He took a group of volunteers, ordinary modern people, normal sleepers, and he took away artificial light. 14 hours of darkness every night, for weeks. No lamps, no screens, just dark. For the first few nights, they slept the way you'd expect. One long block, and then, on their own, without being told to, their sleep split in two. A block of sleep, a gap of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night. Then another block. They weren't recreating history. They'd never heard of eKirch. Take away the light, and the pattern comes back on its own. Which brings us to the number I actually wanted to show you. There's a sleep measurement called WASO, Wake After Sleep Onset. It's just how much time you spend awake, in bed, after you've fallen asleep. For the Hadza, WASO is 2 hours and 26 minutes a night. For non-Hispanic white Americans in the same study, 41 minutes. And the researchers found something else buried in that data. Within the American sample, the more unsafe people perceived their neighborhood to be, the more they woke up at night. The system is still listening. It's still running the check. It's just that the thing it's checking for stopped existing. So let's go back to 3:14 in the morning. You're awake, the house is quiet, the door is locked, there is no leopard, there hasn't been a leopard for a very long time. But the part of you that's awake right now doesn't know that because it was built by 200,000 years of nights where somebody had to be. You are at 3 in the morning doing the oldest job in the world. You're taking a shift nobody asked you to take for a camp that isn't there anymore. Your brain isn't broken. It's just still wired for a world that stopped existing. And it's very, very good at its job.